Hi everyone, so today I want to talk to you about suppressing tics, and I really think this is an important topic, and I might have touched base on it in videos a long time ago, but I wanted to bring it up again because an idea came to me for a really good comparison for those people that don't know a lot about Tourette syndrome, or that don't know, that don't know what it's like for somebody to try and hold a tic in, because there's a lot of confusion for that around that topic for people that don't live with the disorder, because when you tell them that you might be able to eat, that you can suppress them for a certain amount of time, they get it in their heads that means, oh, well, then that means you control them. If you suppress them at this amount of time or on this day, then that means you should be able to suppress them all the time. And I just want to make sure that it's very clear that that's not the case at all, and that's not what happens for us. Suppressing our tics takes every ounce of energy that we have, and it's a very uncomfortable feeling. And while I was writing the other day, I was editing my writing. I am editing a book that I wrote about Tourette syndrome in hopes that it gets into the right hands eventually. But I was writing about it, and this idea came to me as I was editing it. And I thought the comparison of something as simple as breathing for the normal person, or for everybody, was a really good comparison for how to suppress your tics, because for somebody sitting there watching this, if you don't have Tourette syndrome, think about when you've held your breath, or think about when you were in a contest, like when you were a kid and you dunked your head under the water and you saw who could hold their breath the longest. The longer you held your breath, the harder that it got, the harder that it, sorry, my dog wants to play apparently. It gets harder, and all you can think about is holding your breath, and you want to hold out for so much longer because you want to beat this other person. But the more and more you do it, the more and more you think about it, the less and less time that you have to hold your breath, and the less amount of time you have sitting under that water, until eventually all the pressure and all that buildup becomes way too much, and you spring out of the water, and all that air, all that breath leaves your body in such a pressurized and such a forceful way. And that's really how it is a lot for us when we suppress our tics. We can suppress them for a certain amount of time. That doesn't mean we can control them all the time. And the longer I suppress it, the more I'm thinking about it. It's making me tic just thinking about it because it's stressful. The more I think about not ticking, the more my body needs to tick. The more I try not to tick, the more my body wants to tick, because I'm holding something back that for me is natural for my body to do. Just like you breathe every single day, I tick every single day. Maybe not to the same capacity as I did yesterday, or the same capacity as I'll tick tomorrow, but it's gonna happen. And for me, my body needs to do that to feel normal and okay. And I use okay loosely because ticking does not feel normal or okay, but it needs to happen, and my body needs to release it. So, and it's the same thing for somebody that the best I can describe is holding their breath and trying to hold their breath longer and longer and longer, and then all of a sudden all that pressure and everything that you've been holding out eventually finds its way out of your body, and the same thing happens. And that's a lot. If you remember back to my my weighted blanket video, which I think was last week, that's why a lot of my tics come out at night right before I fall asleep, and I think that's why it happens for a lot of other people. Any of those tics that didn't happen, throughout the day, they find their way out of me, and that's why they're happening when I'm laying down, because my body's at rest, and so everything can come out of me. And so that's kind of why, that's the explanation I've always given everybody, but that's the best way I can explain like how suppression works for somebody and why we can do it at a certain amount of time. Sorry, my dog's scratching real quick. But we can't do it all the time, and that's why it's so important for you to remember, if somebody's saying that they're trying to hold them back in front of you, that doesn't mean they can always do it, and it doesn't mean that they're comfortable or that they're feeling okay. We're doing it for you and your comfort, not our own, because holding a tic back is even more uncomfortable than the tic itself. So just remember that. If you ever come across anybody else with Tourette syndrome, or they start to explain that to you, I really think that that's a really good example, or the best example that I could come up with in the 20-some years that I've been living with this disorder. So I hope you liked my video. I hope you thought that it was a good comparison as well. The other people that have Tourette syndrome watching, I really appreciate all your views, all your comments. So please keep them coming. I hope you continue to enjoy the videos. I hope you continue to give me the ideas and topics that you want to see me discuss, because I do see them and I put them on the list of video ideas that I have for myself on my computer. So please give them to me. If I don't do it right away, I promise you I will get to it eventually. So keep them coming. Don't forget to subscribe and to find me at my Facebook page at facebook.com/onetick@a-time. And I will see you guys next week.